Hey all, here OS Reviews. A few months back we did a review on the Vankyo V600. It was one of the first full HD native resolution, low cost LCD projectors on the market, selling for around $250. Well, that was the start of the trend, and now we're seeing more and more of these native resolution full HD projectors. Budget projectors that you'll find on Amazon or eBay typically support 1080p input, for example, using an HDMI port. You can plug in a laptop, but it downgrades the resolution for the output from the lens because it's only capable of, say, 720p or only 480p. We're finally seeing true 1080p output from the lens, which is a pretty big breakthrough for the really low price segment. This version here from ViviBright, called the F40, sells for $230, so it's a little bit cheaper even than the last version, and it has a design that's kind of interesting. It reminds me of a gamer product, like a gaming phone or a tablet, with this dramatic accent on the top. It has 4,200 lumens for the brightness, which is pretty good for a home projector. It has built-in hi-fi speakers. Here we have the technical specifications, including the M-Star chip that's being used, up to 120 inches diagonally. And again, with full HD resolution, you'll get some pretty sharp images. It'll be good enough even for the purposes of business presentations. Packaging contents, aside from the projector itself, include the AC power cable. There's a pretty standard remote control that we've been seeing a lot on these Shenzhen-based projectors for a while now. It uses IR, so you do need to be pointing directly at it. There's also a microfiber cleaning cloth for the lens, along with a quick instruction manual for the projector. So here we have it. The hardware of the F40 definitely looks pretty distinctive, very sharp edges, and again, a gaming-centric design on the top. It's actually an LED light strip which will turn on. We've got a built-in lens cap protector, and we have some chrome accents here and there. The projector's body is still made out of plastic just to keep the production costs low enough. Otherwise, we do have some IR receivers for the remote control. Side here features the ventilation grills for the fan, preventing it from overheating, in addition to one of the speakers. On the back, we have a power switch. We also have all the controls. So it's pretty nice that you don't need to use the remote if you don't want to. You can find them directly here for navigating left, right, up, and down the menus, selecting a different input source. There's a second IR receiver on the back, so it allows you to use the remote even if you're pointing at different sides of the projector, which is pretty thoughtful because IR technology needs to be in direct line of sight, but we have multiple receivers on the different sides that helps with the input. We also have a 3.5mm audio jack if you want to connect it to a better home stereo solution, but again, there's built-in stereo speakers. We also have even an optical jack, so you can use, again, a fancier output speaker. We have one HDMI port and two USB ports that you can plug in a thumb drive loaded with media. Then on the right-hand spine, we have the adjustments for the dial. The wheel here is very textured and easy to move for adjusting the focus as well as changing the tilt. On the back, we have some soft touch rubber feet that prevents it from sliding around on a surface. In addition, we have even a kickstand that's built on in, which is actually pretty cool. So you can adjust the tilt a little bit more easily than past versions. It's a bit more stable and built on in. With that being said, it seems like you don't have a standard tripod mount as a result. So if you want to hang it upside down, it could be a little bit trickier on this model. Overall, it's a really solid design and looks much more expensive than the price would suggest. The only thing I wish from a hardware perspective is maybe if there's a second or third HDMI port, because this is still classified as a home cinema projector, not something that's really portable and easy to take with you on the road. So I do wish having more of those inputs would allow you to switch between, say, a Blu-ray player, a console, and a computer, but you have to unplug it in order to do that. A quick side-to-side comparison of the aforementioned Vankyo V600 and with the ViviBright here on the right. Here we have it from the top looking down. Once plugged in, after the projector is off, the lights are red, and the lights turn green when it is actually powered on. Right now we have a virtual screen size of around 70 inches, and you can see how it's just extremely sharp. We can zoom all the way into this text here, and you have to get, right now, almost 70 times optical zoom to start noticing a little bit of pixelation. Even here, the grain and texture is actually from the projector screen and not actually from the projector's bulb. So it is going to be very crisp if you are looking at text as well as fine details. And right now it's actually still bright outside, so we don't have the curtains fully closed, and it's on a summer afternoon, so we can see some sunlight leaking in, but it's still producing a pretty bright image. And now we have a Windows computer plugged in using HDMI, and again, the benefits of this full HD resolution is you have a lot sharper text and fine detail The focus is going to be the best in towards the center of the image, and then towards the really outer parameters, sometimes you may get a little bit of fuzziness if you look really closely. It's not too big of a deal, and it happens to some extent on all projectors because of the round nature of the lens and the physics, but just something to really quickly point out. If you're used to a more traditional TV or monitor, there is that slight quirk. It's an octa-core chipset, it's a mid-tier CPU, and it has 2 GB of RAM along with a 5.5-inch so pausing things there, the takeaway is the speaker quality is actually pretty good. It doesn't distort even at higher volumes, it packs plenty of volume, and there's a good amount of bass as well. So it's definitely a very enjoyable experience for the purposes of watching some movies and sharing with family and friends. Again, a very low-cost way to get a large display for getting that really cinematic feel. Because the Realtek chipset that they're using underneath is actually the same as the Vankyo V600, it's from the same OEM that's making this bulb technology possible. Unsurprisingly, the quality of the video is also pretty similar to the V600. It's already very good and offers actually surprisingly good saturation and vividness. So colors do pop quite a bit. You can definitely view content even from up close, from afar, from various angles, and it all looks pretty impressive. A few years back, something like this would have cost a lot more, several times more in fact. So all in all, again, for casual movie watching with friends and family, whether it's your own home collection videos, YouTube videos, or a full feature film, I think it'll all serve those purposes pretty well. Again, keeping those cost aspects in mind. If you want to make it even sharper, of course, you can have a smaller virtual screen size that will squeeze the pixels together. But all in all, even with 80 inches or so, I'm already quite impressed with the image quality that I'm seeing here. So using this projector for the purposes of gaming with friends and family is also perfectly acceptable. You get a very low cost, large screen experience, especially if you are light on physical space. Maybe if you're in a dorm room, if you're a student, or if you have a smaller apartment and don't have the room for a larger display. A final demo of what text looks like. We can see some news articles, again very similar to a PowerPoint, Word, Excel document that you have small text on, still is perfectly presentable and easy to read. So that's more or less it for our hands-on review of the ViviBright F40 Full HD Native Resolution projector. Again, for only around $200, it definitely is one of the better values you'll find. From a design perspective, I like it a lot more than the Vankyo V600. It just looks much more striking. Only downsides would, again, the I/O selection is a little bit on the bare side. I do want another HDMI port, but all in all, if you do want something that looks stylish, but you don't want to spend a ton of cash, but performs really well, this is definitely one of the better budget native Full HD projectors you'll find on the market. You can learn more details in the links down below, but for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the ViviBright F40.